On the surface, it doesn't seem like we share nearly 100% of our genes with primates. We can do so many things they can't. Have you ever seen a chimpanzee go grocery shopping or navigate a mall parking lot with an SUV? Of course not. However, research proves chimps have advanced reasoning skills and can apply logic to certain situations. Even still, experts at one facility were stunned by a particular trait shared by both humans and our distant cousins. Jane Goodall is considered the world's foremost expert on chimpanzees. She spent over 55 years studying them, gaining their trust, and learning their intimate lifestyles. She taught the world chimps are creatures to be admired, setting the tone for future researchers. Not long into her studies, she founded the Jane Goodall Institute, which not only cares for chimpanzees, but also works extensively with other animal welfare groups. But chimpanzees were where Goodall's passion lied. Through the countless hours she spent with them, she was able to help the world realize just how similar the animals were to humans. They could feel emotions and they worked in societies. But that wasn't all. As it turned out, chimpanzees were smart. Many of them, when given puzzles and complex tasks, could display problem-solving abilities and advanced thought. This chimpanzee research is also big at Kyoto University in Japan. One researcher, Yuko Hattori, has a PhD in psychology, and, much like Goodall, she spent years studying the behavior and thought patterns of chimpanzees. Her findings were equally as fascinating. Kyoto University has specially designed pens for the chimps to engage in a variety of activities aimed to flex their creative muscles. But it was one particular study that blew the researchers away. Hattori, along with her team of colleagues, were curious as to how their group of chimpanzees would react when they heard music. Obviously, music doesn't exist in the wild, so the team created an interesting experiment. Experts knew they had to choose the right music, something simple with a rhythm. So, they piped short recordings of piano rhythms through a plastic tunnel leading to the chimp's living space, and they watched. Almost immediately, they were in awe at the reaction of the first male chimp. During the course of the 2-minute piano track, the chimp stood up onto his hind legs and began swaying back and forth. There were 7 chimpanzees in total used for the study, and every one of them offered some sort of movement to the music. Some swayed around the enclosure while others sat and clapped along. They were actually dancing. The most active chimp was a male named Akira who danced around for about half of the piano track. But researchers also noticed an interesting difference between male and female behavior. The males were the ones who had far more physical reactions. They swayed and hooted and danced. Akira was the most active, but another chimp, Ayumu, also pranced around. The females were a bit different. They were much more mellow during the songs. All 4 females danced for an average of 10% of the songs, their motions mostly foot tappings and gentle swaying. The researchers considered the reasons for this. Chimps live in a patriarchal society, meaning the men are in charge. Males are far more vocal in the wild in order to communicate to other members of their group or establish dominance. The experts applied this knowledge to their dancing. Research shows dancing is an activity that dates back to the earliest civilizations, but no one thought it extended to any species of the animal kingdom. Could Kyoto's research have been a fluke? Well, a different team of chimpanzee researchers from England's Warwick University noticed 2 chimps at the St. Louis Zoological Park in Missouri moving in sync like they were performing in a conga line. Of course, it's all speculation. Yuko Hattori said of the amazing Kyoto University experiment, "The biological foundation for dancing is deeply rooted and had already existed in the common ancestor between humans and chimpanzees approximately 6 million years ago." Hattori and her team still continue to make breakthroughs in the chimpanzee research, and hopefully the dancing experiment is the tip of a fascinating iceberg. Luckily, they can still rely on Jane Goodall's work for help. In the early 2010s, a branch of the Jane Goodall Institute located in the Republic of Congo welcomed a new ape into its fold, Wunda. When she arrived at the rehabilitation center, Wunda was fighting for her life. Rescued from poachers who planned to butcher her as part of an illegal bushmeat trading racket, Wunda had suffered. She was bruised, battered, and malnourished. She couldn't walk or feed herself. Even Dr. Goodall didn't have much hope for the ape. When I saw the photographs of Wunda as she came to the sanctuary, Dr. Goodall said, "I didn't see how she could possibly have lived." But she, along with the dedicated staff at the institute, were certainly going to try to revitalize the ape. To get Wunda, whose name meant close to death, into a healthy, stable state, Dr. Rebecca Atencia, left, performed groundbreaking surgeries on the struggling chimp that even Dr. Goodall had never seen before. Rebecca came rushing back to care for Wunda. Dr. Goodall said of the Institute's executive director and veterinarian. She did what I believe to be the first ever blood transfusion from chimp to chimp. But still, there was work to be done. The knowledgeable staff at the Jane Goodall Institute put Wunda through a rigorous rehab regimen. She'd been so weak that she had to learn to walk and feed herself again. Would she ever be fit enough for a normal life? With hard work, effort, and a lot of love, Wunda gained strength and muscle, going from a malnourished 63 pounds to a healthier 110 pounds. Other chimpanzees helped her find happiness within a social group, too. For the first time ever, she had friends. Because of Dr. Atencia and the people at the Jane Goodall Institute, Wunda recovered enough strength to leave the sanctuary. While she could never be reintroduced into the wild, Dr. Goodall had created the perfect place for her to go. The institute had another sanctuary on Chinzulu Island. It was a monitored, natural environment where Dr. Goodall planned on releasing 50 to 60 rehabilitated chimpanzees. This was where she brought Wunda on June 20, 2013. The team at the institute transported Wunda via truck and boat to what would become her new home. Along the way, Dr. Goodall spoke softly to the ape and soothed her anxieties during the long trip. It was soon after that something incredible happened. Neither Dr. Goodall nor Dr. Atencia were sure how the rehabilitated ape would act once she was free to head into the protected island forests. Even still, Wunda did something completely unexpected, and Dr. Goodall struggled to hold back tears. With all the love in her primate heart, Wunda turned to Dr. Goodall, the woman whose organization was responsible for her rescue, and pulled her in for a hug. Truly, in this moment, human and animal were connected. Dr. Goodall returned Wunda's hug and, without a sound, the two held the embrace for some time. For everything she'd seen in her lifetime, Dr. Goodall called this moment one of the most extraordinary things to ever happen to her. And then, Wunda trekked off into the heart of Chinzulu Island, the beautiful place she would be calling home from then on. Dr. Goodall watched her go. But Wunda's story did not end there. Dr. Goodall oversaw the release of more rehabilitated chimpanzees to join Wunda on Chinzulu. Eventually, more than 50 chimps were introduced to the island, and Wunda became the alpha female for a group of them. While on the island, the birth control implants Wunda received at the institute failed, and she gave birth to a beautiful baby chimpanzee whom was later named Hope. It was an astonishing feat for an ape who was not too long ago on her deathbed. When asked about Wunda, Dr. Goodall was nothing but humble, claiming, it was entirely thanks to Rebecca, Atencia, that Wunda survived. But it was also thanks to Dr. Goodall's unwavering love and respect for chimpanzees that Wunda, and other chimps like her, received a second chance at life.